Failed with major repairs. Technical repair report for bidding. Restoration with permit by a fully licensed vendor. Engineer oversight. 3 site visits. Certification with owner liability in lieu of a load test. Load test still may be required by the AHJ.
Fire escape engineers, inspector summary. I'm Inspector Gabriel, and I'm here today. I'm here performing a pre-load test examination, making sure that this fire escape is ready for its intended use. 100 pounds per square inch is the design specifications and measurements that they have to sustain, or otherwise do a full refurb and repair some of the items that are requiring attention. As you can see, I'm here at the roof level of this building. It's a 3-story masonry building, as you can see. Let me just get my pointer up and running. As you can see, we have slight instances of evidence of maintenance. For example, somebody already came up here and repaired or rebolted this angles here supporting the gooseneck ladder to the roof. This is mainly a fireman's ladder. This is not for evacuees or occupants to escape from a burning building, but to allow for access for fire department to get to the roof if they have to do some ventilation firefighting operations. So this here is not meant for evacuation. This here is meant for fire department to get access to the roof level, as you can see. If they got to do it for ventilation purposes, for fire department, offensive attacks or operations, that's how they make their way, besides a fire ladder truck who would accommodate a ladder to this height. Now this is a 3-story building, like I said, masonry building. It's a residential building. It has little individual units, and one of the units has the window access to this fire escape, as well as the 3rd floor window and 2nd floor window, which I made entry via the secondary or 2nd floor access window. It was vacant. Currently it's vacant. As you can see, I was explaining that it's been maintained already. They introduced new hardware in the form of hex head bolts, so that's good. But we want to go ahead and silicone shut this connection, so that way we'll prevent from rust penetrating between the connection and causing internal rust, which is what we're trying to prevent here. I'll be picking up the video once I get to the highest platform level, but I just wanted to show you the connection to this rooftop ladder. As you can see, we have structural support angles here connected by hex head bolts, which is good, but we want to go ahead and silicone shut every connection so we prevent water accumulation and penetration. As you can see, we have a fixed ladder punched through. That's how we get up here. I just climbed up here, so had no problems climbing it. Because apparently this portion of the escape system has been maintained in the past, so we don't know how long, but it's been maintained because we see some rebolting taking place. So they swapped it out, took out the old one, and introduced a new one. Now, as you can see from the bottom portions, I will mention what I see, which is original hardware. It has original hardware all around this fire escapes. All the platforms, all the railings, all the threads are connected by original hardware, anywhere from 75 to 100 years old. For example, the square head bolts are ranging anywhere from 50 to 75, and the rivets that I see connecting the threads to the stringer are anywhere from 75 to 100 years old. So it's safely assumed that the majority of the components holding this fire escape together are original hardware and are needed of rebolting or swapping over what's there today and introducing new hardware in the form of hex head bolts. No welding allowed. This is pre-1978, meaning that this paint contains lead, and as per EPA lead rules, an EPA renovator's license is required to conduct any repainting of the fire escape system. As you can see, in its spot paint in some areas, we're missing some paint. We see some surface rust as far as some of the connections here. So we want to go ahead and provide some silicone, 25 to 50 year paintable silicone, and silicone shut this connection here to prevent water accumulation, and then jeopardizing the structural integrity in terms of the connections here. So two things: fire escapes must be kept painted, and fire escapes must be structurally sound. At this point, starting from the top here, I'll be working my way down. So stay tuned. Fire escape engineers, inspector summary. I'm still here, Stanford Avenue fire escape system, 3-story building, masonry building. It has 2 platforms. It has a balance ladder that's in desperate need of repairs. For example, the cabling system is in distressed condition. The actual ladder itself is in a distressed condition, as you can see. It has grease, oil all over. So that requires immediate attention, immediate repairs. Now, it's also some design issues. It's actually sitting outside the platform. It's supposed to be inside. That's a matter to be further discussed. Pre-existing non-conforming issue will be discussed with the ASJ, in this case LA City Fire Department. As we can see, original hardware all around. Some areas doesn't even have any bolts, or missing bolts in some instances, and I'll be documenting that throughout the video. At this point, I'm here at the highest level of this fire escape system. This is the highest platform of this fire escape system. This is actually at the 3rd level. So this is the 3rd level platform. However, it's considered the 2nd platform, since there's only 2 platforms. So as you can see, connection to the building, that one appears to be okay, with slight cracks that we want to go ahead and further investigate. Original hardware all around. Now this is a hollow tube rolling connected by rivets that you could hardly see. Now, like I said, the only place where I see maintenance is in, for example, this fixed ladder, the one that gets you to the roof. I started the video recording from the roof, so those connections there have been swapped out and new hardware introduced, which is good. We want to go ahead and silicone shut the connections. For example, this one was also re-swapped, re-bolted. We're going to go ahead and silicone shut the connection there. This one's still original hardware in the form of a square head. This one has been swapped out as well. We want to go ahead and silicone shut that connection. These are punched through rung bars here for this fixed ladder. We want to make sure that this area here is removed of any rust, slight rust detected there. So we want to go ahead and clean that area. Now, another area of concern in terms of the railings that we see here, it needs some cement work. Now it's in a compromised manner. For example, we see a big gap in here. We need to go ahead and introduce some cement, hydraulic fast drying cement concrete here. Go ahead and patch that up, making sure that it's nice and tight. If need be, hire a cement masonry contractor to go ahead and proceed with those repairs. Now that will need to be repaired. Okay, so that's a major structural. We need to get that repaired by a masonry contractor ASAP. Now it's bolted into this platform, original hardware. Those weren't swapped out. However, the upper portions were. We have a ornamental design in terms of the railing here, as we can see. And obviously the ladder, the balance ladder failed. We need some repairs to happen here in this cabling system that makes this ladder drop 2 to 3 feet per second. Now we see the little hook. The hook is untied. Clear indication that somebody already noticed this and then actually disconnected this component away from this ladder. So this ladder is unverifiable. It's currently in inoperable condition. It does not work. We don't recommend anybody using it because it will not drop to grade. There's grease all over, very heavy, severe amount of grease, giving us information that this ladder is in a distressed condition. As you can see, it's held down by this support angles here. It has now leaked, and then it's a compromised manner. As you can see, we have hollow tubes. Some are threaded through. This is the only areas that are threaded through. This is good. It prevents people from, falling into this pit here, and falling and collapsing at the same time. So that's important that it's here. Introduce new hardware, rebolt the connections in order to guarantee structural integrity. Two things: fire escape must be kept painted. Fire escapes must be structurally sound. At this point, we need a spot paint for the majority of this fire escape, and we also need some structural work to need it to be happening. For example, that railing area, it needs to be cement. It needs cement work on that. Now we see a few instances of internal rust. For example, we see internal rust already there. We want to go ahead and introduce a bolt here to negate the need for a weld connection. As we can see, original hardware. This connection to the building appears to be okay. Now we can't have any obstruction, so this plant has to go. I see that nobody has been watering down, so to just remove this one as a completely. We want to make sure it's not tilting, and we see no indication. What we want to do, we do recommend providing 25 to 50 year old silicone, paintable silicone, and add throughout this portion where it connects to the exterior side of this masonry building. We're going to go ahead and prevent any water penetration from working their way in and causing greater damage or greater hazard in terms of its connection to the building. That is considered structural work, and that's a recommendation we do offer. Like I said, we want to go ahead and replace this cabling system. We want to make sure that it does work and it requires no special action. It's supposed to be single action, really easy, easy, and readily accessible to use by anybody. Occupants, with an emphasis on occupants, have no idea, but are trying to escape a burning building, trying to escape a burning fire. As you can see, platforms are graded. The platform have graded flats. They're held together by 75 to 100-year-old rivets. We want to go ahead and pop each bolt. That's a minor connection. For the most part, the full refurbishment should occur on all major superstructural connections, like this area here, that area there. Some connections here, also in the roof, also in the railing. Railing connection, because it needs some cement work. We need to secure that superstructural, and also the stringers here. Original hardware, as you can see. At this point, this one has are very well tight, as you can see. So we just recommend putting some silicone here if you want to salvage those bolts. But we recommend popping the bolts, introducing new hardware in the form of hex head bolts, and get away from these old ones that are anywhere from 50 to 75 years old. So for example, some of the areas are accumulating internal rust, so we got to go ahead and emphasize those and repair the area that's already rusted out. We need to go ahead and clean that out, clean it real good, introduce primer, go ahead and rebolt the connection, and silicone shut it with 25 to 50 year paintable silicone. That's our recommendation, and that's typically what needs to be happening here. As far as that, we haven't seen that occur anywhere around this fire escape, only for the fixed portions of this fixed ladder, fireman's ladder to the roof, only the upper portion. Because from that point, also that point here, but from the bottom, holding it to the platform, original hardware. Few areas of internal rust. We want to go ahead and make sure we clean that area out, get that rust out, and introduce some primer. Now, just because it's very narrow, part of my risk analysis, I will not be recording on my way down. I will pick up the video once I'm in the second level platform, okay? Part of life safety concerns, it's in the building's best interest and also in my best interest not to record, just because it's very narrow and tight. So I'll do exact measurements of how wide that railing is, this stringers and threads to the bottom floor platform, just so we could document that. But like I said, the ladder itself fails, needs some immediate attention. Fire escape engineers, inspector summary. I'm resuming the fire escape inspection video. As you can see, I was at the secondary platform here. I worked my way down. Now, like I said, I'll be taking a note of how was the width for this thread system and railings, because it appears to be non-conforming, a pre-existing non-conforming issue being too narrow. So you'll really have to be a slim individual to have, without touching these two railings. If not, you'll be, squeezing in through here. So like I said, that's another pre-existing non-conforming issue, as well as with this balance ladder being in the exterior side. I was talking about the release arm mechanism here. You release this, and then you have some cylinder guides here, which get the ladder down. However, at this point, it's not able to go down. As you can see, it has a lot of deterioration, a lot of distress condition here because of the ladder. Now I'm talking a little bit loud because we have some exterior noise, some radio, some songs in the background. So I apologize for that. Hopefully my voice is in a higher pitch than that, okay? We want to recommend a bolt here. As you can see, original hardware. This is railings. However, they made some other designs here, part of ornamental design, trying to make it pretty. As you can see, we talked about the ladder here. It's full of grease. It's in a state of inoperable condition. It needs immediate repairs to be conducted here. Or swap this bolt out, introduce new hardware. Same story with this one, and make sure that this release arm is adequate enough to make sure that this balance ladder drops at least 2 to 3 feet per second. Working my way down, I noticed some of the areas that has immediate rust. I took some photos of that, so pay attention to those photos. It tells you how exactly why is it rust accumulating internal. After you repair this one, we recommend you adding silicone, 25 to 50 year paintable silicone, so that way you'll prevent any water penetration. Hollow tubes, we cannot verify these. These need to be x-rayed or load tested. At this point, we just recommend you re-swap this original hardware and introduce new ones. Here in this connection, this railing here, we see some rust jacking occurring. I'm gonna go ahead and clean that area. Original flats all held together by rivets, as you can see. This one's a little bit detached from the building itself. However, it's now tilting. It looks to be in okay condition there. Also, for this railing here, it doesn't appear to be in a danger like the upstairs one that had missing cement, which requires immediate cement work repairs. As I work my way throughout here, some instances of internal rust here. We want to clean that out, make sure that that area is clean and primed, repaint it afterwards after rebolting. Here we have a lot of rust jacking accumulation. We want to go ahead and clean that area, rebolt it, introduce primer and caulking as well. Same story goes for the ladder. It does not drop 2 to 3 feet per second as required to reach grade, safe haven, so that requires immediate structural repairs. Here for this structural stringer, want to make sure we introduce new bolts for this stringer clip. You'll see that throughout the report, and also some photos to help you understand its condition. Original square head bolts, we want to go ahead and swap these out and introduce new hardware. As I work my way over, it's very narrow, like I said. The structural connection is, this one appears to be okay. We want to go ahead and swap it up and introduce new hardware. Other than that, a few areas of rust jacking gone internal. We want to go ahead and solve that situation there. We do have specific procedures how to repair this, so we could help you out if you seek engineering oversight. At this point, it's just a preload test examination. It doesn't tell you how many problems you have or where exactly are they, but it tells you why it failed and few areas of concern. So giving you a good idea on why we are not passing this fire escape for certification. This inspection being conducted today. As you can see, grease all over this fire escape. This whole balance ladder needs to be repaired, and that release mechanism there, release arm, needs to be rebalanced to go ahead and drop that ladder 2 to 3 feet per second. As you can see, some of the major structural connections, this one doesn't appear to be in a compromised manner. However, we still recommend some silicone, paintable silicone, to help prevent water accumulation there. And we also have that. Now, those connections tiebacks into the building are not verified because we are not doing a destructive testing, meaning that we'll make a hole and then introduce a camera or open it up to see what's out there. It's supposed to have a plate that prevents it from tilting at least 12 inches deep into the building inside this masonry wall interior. Now, that's not included in this inspection, but we'll be making a note of that. So like I said, original hardware all over. We're gonna go ahead and swap those out with new hardware, new hex head bolts. Make sure that all major superstructural connections have been swapped out and replaced. It's called the full refurbishment. So we recommend that. We recommend that from happening, as you can see. Now will be the conclusion of this fire escape. Now I'll be taking another video from the ground up, grade level. It'll be pretty short. However, that will be the concluding video as I conclude this fire escape inspection for this address, 553 Stanford Avenue in LA, California. Fire escape engineers, this is Inspector Gabe signing out until the bottom grade level video. As you can see, we have some comments for the structural connection here, which will be further we'll be providing further details on the report. Okay, so keep a note of that. That's a superstructural connection. We want to make sure that tie back to the building is okay. We want to go ahead and introduce silicone shut connections. We're going to silicone shut the connections, replace those original hardware, and introduce new ones in the form of hex head bolts. We want to make sure that we do that for the entire fire escape. So if there's 1,000 connections, we want to go ahead and introduce 1,000 new hex head bolts, preferably. That way you'll bypass in lieu of a load test. It's still AHJ's ultimate decision whether or not it's still this fire escape will be subject to an actual load test examination, 100 pounds per square inch, which is included in the fire code. Like I said, fire escape engineers, inspector summary. I'll be resuming from grade level as I conclude the fire escape inspection for this building. Fire escape engineers, inspector summary. I'm here at 553 Stanford Avenue. This is in Los Angeles, California. As you can see, I just made my way down. I perform a fire escape inspection for this platform, the staircase with the threads and railings to the uppermost platform, eventually with the fire. This is the balance ladder that doesn't go to grade. It does not drop 2 to 3 feet per second. It has some repairs needed to be done, maybe a full replacement, meaning that this hydraulic oil balance ladder is no longer in operation condition, and given its age, is recommended you replace it in full refurbishment. As you can see, the fireman's ladder, I made my way towards the roof. Now I made my way down. So as you can see, some of the items that you could tell from the bottom portion: original hardware, original square head bolts and rivets, anywhere from 50 to 75 and 75 to 100 years old. So those are recommended to be swapped away and introduced and rebolted with new hardware, which is hex head bolts. Now this ladder, like I said, you're required to provide you're required to have this balance ladder drop 2 to 3 feet per second to the grade level. That way it'll allow occupants to evacuate and reach a safe haven, whether it's that area, or this area. The whole point is for it to drop down, have occupants drop down, stay down 2 to 3 feet per second, stay down, and allow for continuous evacuation from occupants who are in this building. Like I said, 3-story building, masonry, 2 fire escape platforms, superstructural connections. We cannot verify since we didn't do any destructive testing. So that's an item to be further investigated, making sure there is a compression plate in the other side, deep inside, and that way it's preventing any tilt. At this point, we don't see it tilting. However, we do see some cement work repairs that we were encouraging, especially over there in the uppermost platform. Take a look at the videos and photos. You have questions, call us. This is Fire Escape Engineers, Inspector Summary, Inspector Gabe, signing out of 553 Stanford Avenue, Los Angeles, California. Thank you and have a great day. See further report as we discuss some of the major highlights in state of distress.
Load test still may be required by the AHJ. Failed with major repairs. Technical repair report for bidding. Restoration with permit by a fully licensed vendor. Engineer oversight. 3 site visits. Certification with owner liability in lieu of a load test. Fire escape issues. Photos represent what the violations are, not where they are or how many exist. Pass-fail inspection, not technical repair report.